From a gamer standpoint, 2015 is over and most of us are already looking forward to what's coming out next year. There are also a bunch of us arguing with each other as to what the best game of the year was. I am going to do both of these things, but today is my job to show you the top 10 best games of the year. 2014 was one of the worst years in gaming, so it wasn't too hard for 2015 to be better. This year we finally received good reasons to play our new systems, and there are many games that actually met and exceeded our expectations. But like always, only 10 games can make this list and be classified as the best of the year. Unfortunately, Halo 5 Guardians and Rise of the Tomb Raider will not make this list only because I did not spend enough time to play them as I do not have an Xbox One. And while I do know that these are very good games, and that they will make other people's Game of the Year lists, I can't pretend to say good things about these games just because of how good people say they are. I just can't pretend a game is good if I barely played it. I know you guys will understand my decision and won't take offense because these games weren't on the list, so thank you in advance for actually being intelligent human beings. And like always, other games that won't be on this list are remakes of older games or ports of games that originally came out before 2015. And when this video is done, be sure to comment below and let me know what your favorite game of the year is, or if you're feeling ballsy, let me know what your top 10 games of the year are. So enough talking! These are my picks for the 10 best games of the whole year, all of which deserve to be played by as many people as possible. Enjoy! Now I know some of you might find it hard to believe that Arkham Knight only made it at number 10, but that just goes to show how many great games came out this year. Being the last game of Rocksteady's incredibly polished series, Arkham Knight is the most authentic, immersive, and fluent superhero game ever created. Sure, the main story isn't the best in the series, and the Bat-Tank parts absolutely suck. Arkham Knight not only has one of the best and most polished combat systems in action games, but it makes you truly feel like the incredible badass Batman always was. Developed by the same people that made the popular Amnesia: The Dark Descent, I honestly thought Soma was going to be another game full of jump scares meant for Let's Players on YouTube to over-exaggerate every single little action and thing they say. And fortunately, I couldn't be any more wrong. Soma is a game that has you doubt everything around you and never lets you feel safe or lets you know what's really going on. Taking place underwater, maybe? Soma is about the importance and potential of artificial intelligence and what humans think about it. It's a sci-fi story in every sense of the word, from the way all the technology looks and sounds, the creepy creatures you have to hide from, and the terrific sound design. While the gameplay may be uninspired at best, if you're interested in just experiencing a good story, Soma has one of the best video game stories of the year. This game came out of nowhere and instantly became one of the highest rated games of the year. But just by looking at it, it's hard to tell why this game was such a critical success, and only after playing Undertale can you truly find what makes the game so special. I mean, I could tell you, but that would ruin one of the best things about Undertale: unpredictability. The jokes, the way some characters act, the unique way in which some story elements are told through simple gameplay mechanics, and almost every other thing about Undertale is unique and surprising. Everything about the game is full of charm, humor, and self-awareness. Undertale is an absolutely hilarious adventure, it's one of the most unique games of the year, and it's something you definitely need to play that will provide you with a much needed breath of fresh air. Telltale has been on fire since their adaptation of the Walking Dead series. This year alone they worked on Game of Thrones, Minecraft, which was a big surprise, and also just as surprising, Tales from the Borderlands. I said this about last year's The Wolf Among Us, and I'll say it again for this game. Tales from the Borderland is one of the best games Telltale has ever made. Taking place in the Borderlands universe, a game that was never quite known for its story, Tales has you switch between two unreliable protagonists on an adventure. That's pretty much all I want to say about the game without spoiling anything, because like any other Telltale adventure, Tales from the Borderland has one of my favorite stories to be found in a video game. At times it's brutally disgusting, charming, absolutely hilarious, and heart-wrenching. I switch between different emotions constantly throughout this adventure, which is all because of the game's fantastic script, meaningful choices, and the top-of-the-line voice acting for every single one of the characters. If you're a fan of any one of Telltale's previous adventures, you need to get this game, even if you never played a Borderlands game in your life. It's one of the best games they've ever made, and it's the perfect definition of an emotional roller coaster. It doesn't matter what type of gamer you are, or even if you're a gamer or not, because everyone loves Rocket League. For those of you that are out of the loop, Rocket League is basically soccer with cars, plain and simple. There's nothing overly complicated about the game, and there aren't any unnecessary additions to the game just for the sake of changing things up. Rocket League's core gameplay is perfect. It's very easy to just pick up and play, as well as incredibly complicated to master some of the complex moves one can pull off. Every single time I played the game and told myself I'll only do one more match, it turns out I played the game for another 2 hours. Rocket League is addicting and is a perfect game to play with almost any of your friends. It's a game everyone can play at almost any time, and it's a great example as to what makes video games so much fun in the first place. The game that we've been all waiting for together, and one that actually turned out just as good as we expected. While this entry in the series isn't anything revolutionary, Fallout 4 makes it more fun and enjoyable to run a post-apocalyptic wasteland however we please. I mean, I don't really have much more to say about it. It's just a more refined version of Fallout 3, and that's exactly what we wanted. While they did nerf the dialogue system, and none of the Bethesda junk has changed, traveling to whatever points in the map you want to explore and experience the thousands of stories the game has to offer more than makes up for the game's shortcomings. And I know some of you might think I'm being a little too harsh on the game during the last 30 seconds, but I'm just justifying as to why this game wasn't higher on this list. But yes, Fallout 4 is amazing, and I do plan on losing myself in its world for another couple hundred hours or so. The fifth entry in the long-running Metal Gear Solid series, as well as the last one to be directed by Hideo Kojima, The Phantom Pain could have honestly been one of the best video games ever created. But the downfall and evilness of Konami clearly affected what was going on during the last third of the game. The game is clearly unfinished, as many plot threads just stopped and never continued, and most of the late game missions got fairly repetitive. However, even with these major problems, The Phantom Pain is an astounding achievement in video games. Visually, it's one of the best looking games ever created, the mission design is amazing, the amount of freedom you have on executing your missions is spectacular, and the stealth and action gameplay is without a doubt the best to be found in video games bar none. You have full control over all your actions, and actually playing the game is much more enjoyable due to the game's incredibly realistic AI. Yes, Metal Gear Solid 5 may have a few problems that hold it back from perfection, but damn is it close. Bloodborne is perfect at being a video game. It is ridiculously hard to fight even the simplest of enemies, and the game will punish you just for taking a walk down a beautifully envisioned street, but it's worth it. The world of Bloodborne is dripping with creative atmosphere that even comes alive through simple screenshots of the game. Its combat is relentless and fast-paced, but the weapons you use are brutal and creatively designed. Every enemy and character you come across is an intriguing creature that makes me smile just because of how cool they are. In all honesty, I hate talking about Bloodborne simply because I don't give the game enough credit it deserves. This is all because words literally cannot describe what makes this game a must-play title. You just have to trust what I say by buying the game and by taking your first steps into the world of Yharnam and experience one of the most rewarding, difficult, and beautiful adventures ever created. I do apologize I couldn't convince you on what makes this game so special, but if you haven't played the game already, I do hope you trust me and try it out for yourself. You'll thank me later. A game that is appearing on almost no one's Game of the Year list, Hotline Maybe 2 is a violent, addicting, and hypnotizing experience that is without a doubt one of the best games of the year. It improves upon the original game in almost every way by adding a complex, branchy story with multiple characters, new weapons, insanely hard levels, and refining the original game's addicting combat. Hotline Maybe 2 has one of the best soundtracks to be found in a video game, with music so good that I downloaded most of the game's music so I could bop my head and imagine killing people almost anywhere I go. Hotline Maybe 2 is almost a euphoric experience, one that ramps up your heart rate, gets your blood pumping, and makes you mentally lost within its blend of colorful visuals, one-hit death gameplay, and loud techno-filled music. If this sounds like an experience you want to get lost in, I strongly recommend getting the original game so you can get caught up on its story, master its difficult gameplay, and more importantly, for the experience itself. And before I reveal which game is number 1 on my list, and I know most of you that watch my channel already have a good understanding as to what the game may possibly be, here are a few games that almost made my list that still deserve an honorable mention. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Excluding the absolutely garbage campaign, Black Ops 3 is one of the best and most addicting multiplayer modes the whole series has ever seen, and the Zombies mode is a return to what we all used to love and gives us a promising future to exploring the complicated Zombies universe. Xenoblade Chronicles X. As a fan of the first Xenoblade Chronicles in the original Wii, Xenoblade Chronicles X is an epic open-world adventure that contains a giant world to explore, beautiful characters to meet, a great combat system, and the ability to fly and fight around in giant mech suits. And my last honorable mention goes to Splatoon. While I was disappointed with the lack of content when the game was first released, Splatoon has been adding a ton of free maps and game modes since then that makes one of the most unique shooters I've ever played feel full and fresh. The Witcher 3 is one of the best games ever made. Every single little detail in the world you explore, the characters you talk to, and the quests you partake in make this game feel more real and immersive than anything that has ever been released. While there were many open-world RPGs in the past that let us get immersed and lost in its world, no game has ever done what The Witcher 3 has by making you truly believe that you're in an alternate reality. I truly felt like I was the one discovering this world, even considering I wasn't even playing as myself. I was playing as Geralt, one of my favorite protagonists to be found in video games. The story, characters, and themes of the Wild Hunt are mature and complex. Everything you do and the choices you make have real weight to them and impact the world around you in a believable way. It doesn't matter if you don't like medieval fantasy-style games or open-world RPGs, or even if you're not a fan of the Witcher series. If you want to explore and experience the most beautiful and convincing world outside of real life, then you have to play The Witcher 3. After all, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is not only the best game of 2015, as well as being the best game on next-gen consoles, is also one of the best games of all time. And that was my list of the 10 best games of 2015. I know you may have different opinions on what should have been Game of the Year, so let me know in the comments below what your Game of the Year is. And if you're feeling ballsy, please comment below what your top 10 Games of the Year are. And just to let you know as a heads up, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 most anticipated games for 2016, so stay tuned for that exciting video. And as always, thank you for watching, and stay fresh.